So there is a god! So this developer's message on CBT2 recently dropped, and yeah, it's not a fluke. Kuro seems to be very receptive to the feedback over the current state of this game, and I really hope that this is a trend that they'll keep up moving forward. Now, I'm still skeptical, but for now, let's just take a look at what they have to say and see if they address all of our issues. So it reads, "Dear Rovers, we would like to express our sincere gratitude. Thank you for participating in and paying attention to our CBT2. We received a lot of valuable feedback from all platforms. After careful consideration, we have finalized our plans for future adjustments and optimizations, and we would like to share them with you. So we hope this developer's message addresses any questions you may have. Your continued support means the world to us," which is awesome already, right? This is just an introduction, but it's really comforting to know that they really care a lot about this beta being a beta test and not like some sort of like early access to kind of advertise the game and whatnot. Moving on. So overall combat experience optimizations. We are addressing the issue of poor sound effects and hit feedback many of our players have mentioned. We will focus on revamping the sound effects of weapon hit feedback, echo skills, resonance skills, and other battle aspects. In addition, we'll improve jumping by adjusting animation speed, camera transitions, and landing feedback to make it feel more natural. So in my Wuthering Waves CBT2 video, I did not mention the poor sound effects and hit feedback because I didn't actually recognize it until after I got done with all the WuWa stuff, and I went back to PGR so I can make my PGR video, and I started to realize, wait a second, all of this feels rather different. The parry sounds, like the hit feedback, all of that, it just sounded better in PGR. So when I went back to WuWa, I started fighting again. I was like, okay, yeah, nope, this feels a little like muted. So it's good that they're actually addressing it, and I'm glad other players were talking about this because I wouldn't have figured that out, honestly, unless I went back to PGR and realized, wait a second, something's different. And then the more important one to me personally is the jumping one, because the movement in the game, really nice, except for the jumping. It's weird because like I always think about momentum based like movement, and the jumping is really sharp and it's almost like a rubber band. It may seem minor, and something as minor as jumping, they're actually addressing, which is awesome. Alright, so character specific combat optimizations. We will be making specific adjustments for characters frequently mentioned in the feedback we received. Our current plans include adjust Ling Yang and Jinshin's movesets for an elevated overall combat experience, adjust Verina's HP restoration mechanism so she can use her photosynthesis energy more efficiently, improve Kalkaro's kit, his extra intro skill necessary means will be available by default. Okay, so the reason why I'm speeding through this is because the only character I got was Jinshin. And the issue is, I like her movesets, but I don't like how she plays. And the reason why I'm saying this, I don't even know if this makes sense, but like, I was using her a lot during the Morning Axis hologram fight because I couldn't use Rover because Morning Axis is resistant to Rover's attacks. So I was like, okay, dang, whatever, right? And the longer I started using Genshin, the more I didn't like playing her. And I was like, oh, I wish I used Rover because Rover feels so good. It feels so smooth to play as Rover. Genshin, and I'm not saying Genshin, well, maybe I am saying, because Genshin doesn't flow well, and it just seems like her kit doesn't seem right for the game. I don't know. I don't know if that made sense, but like, I just hope they do improve Genshin's in some way, shape, or form because it just doesn't feel good. Okay, so we got new combat skill practicing dungeons. We will introduce a series of new combat practicing dungeons where you can better familiarize yourself with characters' unique combat mechanisms and practice how to combo, which is nice. It's basically Trial Zone or like one of those like character trial things. I hope in the future, and they'll probably implement this maybe in like far in the future in Wuthering Waves life cycle, but maybe we can like also have like training arenas where we can also practice like, you know, parry timings. It's pretty nice if they actually implemented that, so that'd be really cool. I'm talking about something else entirely at this point, but just know that, you know, it's nice that we get something like combat practicing dungeons. Aside from the points above, we have also started working on other frequently reported issues such as bad camera experiences, frequent lock-on loss, enemies quitting combat, and counterattack failures. This is really good. The bad camera experience is awful. I think I mentioned this before in my Wuthering Waves video. It just felt like I was fighting against the camera most of the time. This also ties in with the lock-on loss, because there are times where my lock-on would just, instead of looking at the monster, it would just go straight into Narnia and look at just a whole bunch of nothing, which is really awkward. And then I was fighting against that, trying to get my lock-on back onto the monster. Really weird. But I think the biggest issue, and I'm not sure about the enemies quitting combat, I haven't really had that issue, but counterattack failures. Now, I'm assuming, I believe in this game, parries are considered as counterattack. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is an issue that I have to point out, because when you successfully parry, especially in a boss fight, you still get damage. I don't know what the deal is, but yeah, hopefully they fix that. So moving on to the gameplay section, the ecosystem. We received a lot of feedback on the ecosystem. Thank you so much for taking the time to test out this system and providing valuable suggestions. We have received many suggestions and concerns about how the echo hunting experience was too grindy, how the game lacked disposal options for unwanted echoes, and other issues. To address these issues, we are planning to implement the following changes. Make it easier to obtain various echoes. Okay, that's good. We plan to make echoes available through participating in game events, completing daily activities, and other means. I don't know how I feel about this. Overall, like, this is a net positive. A part of me feels like it's a band-aid fix, and I don't know why I feel uncomfortable about this one. But I think this is good. We get new ways, well, not new ways, just additional ways of getting echoes. Okay, you know what? I know why I feel weird about this. It's probably because I feel like this was already planned. Participating in game events, completing daily activities, and other means. Now, daily activities, no, this was not part of it. The in-game events part. Somewhere in our little like reward section, we were able to get a specific like I think it was like a gold quality like echo, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, so I guess like in future events they're gonna reward us, you know, these specific echoes or something like that. I don't know if they're gonna be random, like they're gonna be randomly rolled, or they have like a static like set, like, you know, stat. I think it'd be nice if it was a static stat. But I feel like they were already planning to do they were already planning to provide echoes in future in-game events. So I think that's why I feel a little bit uncomfortable, because as much as this is a solution, I feel like they were always planning to do this. But moving on. Provide a better way to dispose of unused or redundant echoes. You will be able to recycle unenhanced echoes by converting them into random new echoes of a type you have unlocked. Return turners. Yeah, okay. I always thought it was tuners, but I guess they're turners. Return turners when tuned echoes are consumed. Wow, that is a tongue twister. When you use tuned echoes to upgrade other echoes, a designated % of tuners you previously used will be returned. This is great, but I really want to know what the percentage is, because this is pretty much what marks how much time we have wasted when we invest in an echo. So this is fine. I just would love to see them like put up numbers. And the reason why I'm saying this is because for back in the day for Destiny, I mean, I guess we still have TWABs, but we have a This Week at Bungie where, you know, they would have like similar developers notes, and they would actually give us numbers. And that's really nice. And I love this kind of transparency. Don't get me wrong. This transparency is real nice, but I wish they actually gave us the numbers. I think it would put into perspective, you know, like how much time we have wasted. And if the numbers are not, if the return is not good, we should be able to, you know, take that number and, you know, say, hey, Kuro, this, I don't think this is an acceptable number, you know. But overall, like, at least we are getting something, because the current state is awful, because you just straight up waste an immense amount of time where you you tune your echoes, and then you're like, oh, I got a defense stat. Well, that sucks. Looks like I wasted all my time, you know. So all right, let's move on. Okay, so they want to make it easier to get your desired substats. We will raise the minimum numbers you can get with substats rolling and narrow the range of possible rolling results. I do not like the way RNG works in this game. It's just RNG on RNG on RNG, and especially the disparity between the minimum rolls and the maximum rolls. It's awful. Yeah, this is good. They're narrowing the range. is when they say make it easier to get your desired substats, I thought they were actually talking about like how PGR you could like roll like the like specific resonance, like you can actually focus on a specific resonance. I thought we were gonna go for that. They did not address the sheer amount of substats we're getting, which is really frustrating. The maybe there's a reason why, because maybe people probably want like only basic attack substats or only skill attack substats, but like I'm just thinking to myself, why can't we just have a blanket like attack substat? Like why do we have to focus on like one thing? It really, because if I were to get 7% attack, it'll be 7% attack for both the skill and the basic attack. But this one, like it'll be like, oh well, then you only get 7% attack on the basic attack, but not on the on the skill. So it's really weird how they would pad the substats this way. I don't like it because it's just giving more substats that you have to worry about. But yeah, just moving on. Let's see. Optimize auto equip echoes mechanism. Okay, let's see what this is all about. All right, so it reads, additionally, we will improve Infernal Rider's Echo skill to add a new transformation mode. When equipped, you can transform into the Infernal Rider, which is great. It's basically a mount at this point. We will be developing even more new events and new gameplay centered around the Echoes and improve them based on your feedback to create unique experiences. Great. I think what they're referring to are the exploration quests, which are related to these specific Echoes. So it's pretty cool because it has like varied gameplay and it interacts with the world. So if they're expanding on that, that's fantastic. So yeah, that's all that needs to be said here. This is actually it's just a really good thing to know. Let's move on to the next one. New content for Depths of Elusive Realm. We will add a tutorial stage for Depths of Elusive Realm to help beginners better understand and enjoy this gameplay. More playable characters will be added in the Depths, so they misspelled Depths, but you know, that's alright. Depths of Elusive Realms. Additionally, you'll be able to use trial characters in this mode. Meanwhile, new high difficulty events and special boss mechanisms will be added for you to challenge. We are also working on other gameplay issues mentioned in your feedback. Here are a few examples. Drops from supply chests or enemies in the wild will automatically be picked up. Holy crap, that's actually huge. Oh my god, let's pause right there. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god. Having to press F to pay respects is the dumbest mechanic they have ever put into that CBT. It is so painfully bad. So now it'll automatically be picked up. Perfect. I don't know why the whole thing existed in the first place. Now, actually, okay, I kind of do, right? Because like for maybe like the multiple, like, you know, picking like 3 berries off a bush, right? Holding F to pay respects is fine in that respect, but let me put this out there. I think they should make the F holding F mechanic thing a little bit faster because it still feels really long. Anyway, moving on. Co-op mode will be made available sooner at a lower union level. That's fine. I kind of don't care about that part, but whatever. A batch salvaging option for unwanted items in your backpack. Okay, that's great. We hope these changes can further improve your game experience. The drops from supply chest is the greatest thing I've heard so far, at least for the open world stuff, but yeah, that's great. For the Depths of Elusive Realm, I really don't have much to say on it. Not that I didn't try or anything like that. It was more like I just didn't care too much about that game mode, right? Of the 3 game modes, I just love the holograms, which it appears they're not gonna talk about holograms, which is a big issue, but I'll touch on that later. You know, for people who've played this is great. Meanwhile, new high difficulty events and special boss mechanisms will be added for you to challenge. Fine, this is great. We'll just move on to story cutscenes and animations. Alright, so they say we are working on frequently reported issues about story cutscenes and animations, including strange camera positionings, characters showing up at the wrong time, poorly matched lip animations, and a lack of detail in story sound effects. Here are some of the progress we've made so far. Optimize camera positioning and character animation in some parts of the story, improve lip animation and eye blink animation. Okay, sure. So adjusted and rearrange the story quest progression for a smoother flow and change the unlock prerequisites for some story quests. Okay. So It was in fact weird the way the story worked out, or like how you were able to play like the character story quests just off the rip, like the spear guy, because we were like aside from like that one cutscene that to me kind of felt out of just left field, and then we just went into the Scar thing. We only met him, well, not necessarily met him, we didn't actually physically meet him per se. We just like saw a cutscene of him, and that was literally it. But we were able to play his story quest, and when during his story quest he was like, hey yo, what's up, long time no see, and I was like, hi, I guess. I thought that was just a beta thing. Okay, and then the next one will be rework the sound effects and cutscenes for a better performance. Again, I thought that was just a beta specific thing. You know, actually, now that I think about it, maybe the 2 and 3, they're just beta specific things. They just wanted to address it because people had issues with it, which, like, personally, because I understood it was a beta, I was like, sure, whatever, it's a beta, they'll fix it later. I mean, it's gotta be fixed, because it's weird if they don't. So that's why I was just like kind of weirded out by how they addressed it, because I feel like it's something that I thought was already down the pipeline, but you know, I guess they're just telling us that it's down the pipeline, so you know, there it is, right? The most important part of this story section is number 4, improve the skip function to make it work better. Now, here's the thing, right? I spent an entire day just trying to figure out how the skip button works. I was just trying to figure out what the stipulations were for when you can allow it to appear, and then when it's not allowed to appear, because there are situations where the skip button will not appear, right? And the way you're able to skip it is awful, right? Because you're technically supposed to hold it, and then later on the skip button will appear, and you gotta have like hold it for like 10 seconds or so, and then you'll finally skip it. And then there are times where the click will just register as you trying to progress a story, which is kind of frustrating because like you just want to skip it. So I don't know what the deal is. So why can't you guys just do what you did in PGR? Have the button there, right? And in case someone accidentally mispressed it, right? Have an extra window to be like, are you sure you want to skip it? Yes or no? And then if you don't want to skip, you press no. And if you do, press yes. It's as simple as that. I do not like the way the skip function works in CBT2. So I'm glad they are addressing this. Okay, other optimizations and adjustments. Aside from the changes above, we are addressing game issues such as crashes, blank screens, frame drops, device overheating. Improving game performance on all devices is a top priority. Perfectly fine, yeah. We're also improving the character and environment designs and adjusting the UI for easier navigation, new events, and story content in early development. We'll share our progress with you. So, I'm honestly going to hold my judgment about this one, especially for the character and environment designs and adjusting UI. If they are going to, show that off later in the future, that's fine. I'll probably take a look at them, and then if I have some issues, I will talk about it and I will scream about it if I do not like it, because that's how I am. I will scream. We take localization quality very seriously, and it is also a big part of our future optimization plans. We will continuously improve localization quality based on your feedback. We are working on adding EN, JP, KR voiceovers for stories and character voice lines. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, this is good. I'm excited to hear who's voicing the English and Japanese voiceovers. Maybe the Korean voiceover quality is also just as good. Who knows? But that's pretty good. Yeah. And finally, these are our future adjustments and optimizations based on the feedback we received during CBT2. These are our future adjustments and optimizations based on... Wait, what? Wait, okay, someone needs to proofread that because they just said, okay, whatever. They said that twice, whatever. We apologize for any deficiencies or unsatisfactory content in the beta test build. The development team is committed to addressing these issues and prioritizing areas that were less enjoyable for players. Our goal is to bring you an even better version of Wuthering Waves next time. Thank you again for your continued attention and support the Wuthering Waves dev team. Okay, so yeah, this is a net positive. This is a really, really good developer's message. It pretty much tackled the bigger issues that a lot of people had issues with, like the overall combat experience optimizations, the ecosystem, which honestly, the ecosystem I would say is probably the biggest issue. right? Because it does play into how we are going to build our characters for the combat itself. And of course, the skip button, because this is just a biased take. I spent too much time on the skip button. So, you know, I hope it is better. Please be better. Yeah, this is a good developer message, but it doesn't address enough. So what do I mean by not enough? If you scroll all the way down to the echo system, we can see that they have two concerns. The echo hunting experience was too grindy, that's one, and the other one is the game lacked disposal options for unwanted echoes. Now for the lack of disposal options for unwanted echoes, they pretty much solved that by, you know, adding in disposal options for unwanted echoes. That's great. But for the echo hunting experience, which was too grindy, there are two separate issues that play into that. The first issue is with obtaining echoes through low drop chances from limited spawning monsters in the overworld and tacit discords. The second one is what is inherent in echoes. So first, when you talk about the first issue, which is obtaining echoes, right? When they said they make it easier to obtain various echoes, I assumed they were going to talk about the drop rates of the echoes from the monsters in the overworld and tacit discords. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, what they gave us are new outlets to obtain these echoes. As I mentioned earlier, I felt weird about it because I felt that they were planning to do this all along. But what I really take issue with is that this feels like a band-aid fix that alleviates the grindy issue and not necessarily addresses the, you know, the actual drop rates of the limited spawn monsters and the tacit discords. It feels very roundabout. But it really doesn't help over the fact that we also have the issue with the echoes themselves. Don't get me wrong, I like how they address the tuner situation. The biggest issue behind the echoes is how the substats have RNG over really bad RNG. Over here, they say they'll make it easier to get our desired substats. But there are two fundamental problems to the echoes. The one they address is the range of percentages within the substats. However, there's still a problem over how we have so many different substats. I'm talking about basic attack bonus, skill damage bonus, heavy damage bonus. What you're doing is you're just diluting the pool of substats to make it harder for you to get what you actually want. All this really did is change the ecosystem into RNG over not as bad as it used to be RNG. This still feeds into the grindiness of the echo hunting experience. Now, I'm not saying these are bad changes. I just feel like they also failed to address the other parts as to why the system feels grindy and awful. So overall, they have a lot of work to do concerning the ecosystem. And then one other thing they did not address, and it really hurts me, it really kills me inside, because I played a lot of the holograms, and it's not the boss fights that are a problem. It's not the boss design that's the problem, right? It's the jankiness of the boss. And what I mean by that is that there are times where I would find the boss. So like, let's say the bird boss, right? When it does its landing attack, it'll land, like it'll literally toadstool on your head and make it seem like the surface is actually like 6 feet above your head or something like, or 6 feet from the ground instead of the, you know, the actual ground. So it's actually like walking on the air. So you have to kind of like move out of the way to let the bird kind of like fall onto the ground, and then, you know, you get to play as normal. Now, that does sound like a minor issue, and it is, unless you realize that you are also on a timer. When you're like playing as under-leveled character, right? Certain issues like that can be a little bit self-sabotaging. Now, that's a minor issue, right? So let's go over the big issue about holograms, and that is the lack of a reset button. Oh my god, this frustrates me to high hell. And the reason why is because you only get a give up button, okay? And here's why this is a problem, and I explained this in the video before, is that when the boss kills, let's say, one of your characters, and you're like, oh, well, this is a crappy run, so you know what, I gotta reset, right? If you press a give up button, you will have the same exact health that you had when you press the button, meaning that your character is still dead when you leave the fight. So that means that once when you press the give up button, you have to go back into the town, like the main tower that heals you. Then you have to teleport back to the hologram. Then you activate the hologram, and then you fight the thing. That is awful. So the best way to reset the fight actually is to have the boss kill all 3 of your characters. It's like wiping in Destiny raids. Like, oh, it's so bad. If that's the best way to reset a fight, that is just a straight up bad design. We should have a button available to us where when we press the restart button, boom, all our characters are healed up in the in the same like amount of health that they did when they started the fight. Smoother gameplay experience for the hologram fight. Otherwise, I will scream it's because it's much more frustrating, or the fact that I have to wipe my team just to reset. It's stupid. It's just really stupid. Now, I will hold off on my current worries about the overworld, as I have already mentioned them in my last video, and they did state that they are improving the character and environment designs plus the UI. It seems that they'll share more of their progress with us at a later date, so again, I'll hold off on this. So yeah, overall, yeah, this is a pretty good developer's message, but again, there are some issues that aren't addressed here. It doesn't seem, it seems like they're missing some things, and I'm still worried. It's nice actually that they are taking this seriously, unlike most other developers. I really don't want to slam other developers like this, but let's be honest, right? Most beta tests out there kind of feel like there's this kind of like early access advertisement when it should just be, you know, a beta test. Our criticisms, our feedback, you know, what looks like negativity is not negativity. It's just criticism because we want the game to be the best it can be. And as it says on the bottom, right, our goal is to bring you an even better version of Wuthering Waves next time. So yeah, that's the developer's message. It's sort of devolved into a rant, and really, you know, I have high expectations, and if anything, I might be worried about nothing. Perhaps like everything will be fine, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. I just have my worries, but all in all, I'm still excited for the game, so we'll see how it all pans out. So yeah, I'll see you later. Bye!